Hello, Podsters. Hello, Podsters. We're back here for another round of, the Unorthodox podcast. And I'm joined with the lovely Victoria.
Hello.
Hello. And we've got another episode for you. And today we are going to be talking about something really close to my heart, and in fact, probably the main reason when we took over in 2014, probably the key thing that turned our business around. And I think if you're just starting out or you're in business, and this is a real core thing to really understand, and that's owning your numbers. So before I go any further, I'm not going to say anything more until you press like, subscribe, or follow, whatever you're listening on, following on. Someone said to me, I had some feedback, and they said, you should really say that at the beginning. So there we go. I'm not going to say any more. Have you done it? Have you pressed it? Are you now liked and subscribed? Because you don't want to miss another episode.
Definitely not.
So that's cool. So yeah, like and subscribe. I'm Steve Pickering. If you've listened to me before, as you know, I'm the CEO of Sussex Beds. And this podcast is all about my journey as a leader in retail and the challenges of growing a small, medium-sized business, and of course working with your family. And I know there are many family businesses out there, and many of you are already listening because you keep messaging in, so that's lovely. So keep those messages coming. So as I say, today we're going to talk about owning your numbers. So here we go. How was that intro?
Yeah, I liked it. That was cool. Yeah, nice.
Getting
better.
Good.
Yeah.
I didn't even look down that
No,
much.
you didn't. It was great.
Right, so the beginning, before you own your numbers. Yeah.
So, should we talk about when you joined the business and how you made decisions then? How is it different to now?
Yeah, so I first joined the business in 1987.
Wow.
All the way back to the 80s. I know. I don't look old enough. Well, some would say I do. But when I first joined the business, I think all we knew, and I think there was 3 shops at the time, three stores at the time. All we knew was how much we were taking that day.
Okay.
And that was about it. That was the extent of our numbers. And probably store by store, I wouldn't even say as a group of 3. It was just, we had a good day. Good.
Okay.
And that was about all of the numbers that we took. Obviously, numbers went away and you file them in accounts and stuff like that. But the actual running metrics were very, very basic.
Did you have any targets? Were there motivations for the team back then, or did that really change when you took over?
Do you know what? I don't think there was no targets. It was just day by day buying stuff and selling stuff, and that was about it. And I think it was probably mid-90s, once we had a few more stores, that really then we started to look at how much was being taken as a group, as a business, day by day, and really focusing on what was being taken.
Okay.
And I guess the whole business really went along like that. It was all on revenue, and being retail, it was what you take, and it was just total revenues every day, and nothing more than that.
And there were no worries around that, I guess. It was
not
different.
Not particularly. It was very, very different. It was just the way you brought in money, you paid out money, and hopefully there was more left over than what you spent out, and that's the way the business rocked for many, many years. And when I look back now, I look back with fear, really, that was the only controls we had up until, and really, when I talk of the issues we had in 2012, a lot of it was just a lack of controls.
Yeah.
Realistically, no control on what your expenses were, no real knowledge of what margins you were making, and even revenue was very vague. And then at the end of the financial year, all of the accounts go off and they would be filed, sorted out, and you would then find out, oh, that was a good year, or yeah, that's not such a good year.
No.
Which realistically, I don't think there's a lot of businesses that work like that. You're finding out whether you've done good stuff or bad stuff.
Yeah, at the
pretty
end.
much 6 months after you file these accounts. So that's like 18 months, really.
Yeah.
So if you've not done very well, you're already 6 months into your next financial year, and you're still doing the bad stuff that maybe made you not do so well. And alternatively, if you're doing well, you don't know what good things you were doing to do well. So basing your numbers on accounting is history. What you really need to know is what's happening today.
So what was the turning point for you then and the business?
So the Sussex Beds went through its rocky period 2012-2014, and as we come out in 2014, we started to work with a business coach. And the first thing that our coach insisted we do was to start counting, and this, I think how, we was in a desperate situation. Start counting how many people were coming into our stores. And you think, what's that going to tell us? We just need more business.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went down that route and we started counting how many people were coming into our stores. Now, what that enabled us to do is, if 100 people were coming into our stores and we made 50 sales, we can now work out a conversion rate of 50% or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you then build up that conversion number. Now, how much are each of those customers spending? So an average order value. So we started recording what our average order values were. Okay, fair enough. So we had footfall, we had a conversion number, and we had average order value. Now, what that gives you is the driving metrics of the business. And in fact, this isn't just retail, this is every business. Every business has driving metrics. So if you just take your revenue, for instance, your big number, the number you've taken, if you want to do more, where do you start? Oh, we want to do more business. And you will then pluck things out the air. Oh, well, let's do some advertising. Oh, let's leaflet the street, whatever it is. But it's a shotgun approach. Now, if you look at driving metrics, which those are 3 of them, and you're measuring them month by month, quarter by quarter, are they going up? Are they going down? And that will tell you the story of, because basically those 3 numbers put together will equate to what your revenue is. Now, if average order values are falling, right, what can we do? So then you've got strategies that you can focus on driving those metrics in the right direction. And that was just a game changer. And today, those metrics run all of the way through our business. It's not just high level, that's store by store, person by person. We know the conversion and the average order value of every team member. And if they need help on selling better quality product or, connecting with customers, you can then target the strategies towards the issue rather than plucking out of the air. And I think the other important thing is, if you look at those 3 metrics, some of them are a lot lower cost to focus on than others. So if footfall, for instance, is the amount of people coming in, realistically, that's probably the most expensive one to try and drive up.
Yeah, I think so.
If you start with the conversions and the average order values, that's people that are already coming in. And if you can push up those numbers, there's no additional cost in trying to bring extra people in. It's making more out of those that come through the door. So that's efficient. And that's the power of really knowing your numbers. And that's really where it all started from. Okay. And numbers have now become an obsession. Of course, it goes on from there, marketing, knowing your return on investments and all that sort of stuff. But it really is so important for control and scaling your business. And I think on reflection, probably one of the biggest problems we had going through 2004 through to 2012 was we weren't in control. We didn't know for a fact what the issues were. Yeah. And so, that's the big thing that changed.
It was the turning point.
A huge turning point. And really, I mean, as you know, KPIs and numbers are now absolutely core to the business.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Everything now is viewing and understanding your numbers. And the numbers that are now, not accounting numbers which are historic, it's really you want to know what's happening today. And that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Is bringing that as close as you can to, hour by hour, minute by minute, so you can react as quickly as possible for the good stuff and the stuff that's going wrong.
Brilliant, thanks. So you wrote a LinkedIn post recently about obviously owning your numbers, which we're talking about today, but you mentioned the book Traction.
Yes.
And the 3 points in that you brought up. Do you want to talk a bit about what that did for you?
Traction, I read Traction in 2019, and it was probably one of the most influential books that I've had, and really formed the basis of a lot of our structure. And it goes through many different modules of business structure, accountability, charts, but something that really resonated with me, and it does touch on KPIs, but the bit that really resonated was that everybody should own their number. So everybody within an organisation, doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, really you are accountable, responsible for a number. Now, of course, it's quite easy on a sales basis, they are responsible for their average order value and their conversion, because they're in control of that. But it goes on from there. If I look at what today, your gross profit number, that's now owned by our product team. And if you get everybody operating and focusing on their number, the team and the business does well as a whole. And you're doing your bit within that cog. And it was so influential. I think it really stuck with me. And so we'd built up all of these KPIs and sheets and all linked, but actually trying to get everybody's core number to it, every individual, was proving really, really difficult. And I think when I look back, it was probably the start of us really understanding that we needed to change our whole IT to enable this to happen. And last year, obviously, we've spoke briefly about what we went through with changing all of our IT systems. And it was extremely painful, but it was all to get dashboards to every individual, that just show them the numbers that are important to them, so they can focus clearly on achieving their objective. And that's how an entire business improves and becomes successful.
Yeah, I think so.
But no, really influential book, and great book. And you can dip in and dip out, because there's some really good other stuff in there, such as, if you're starting out in business, your values and your mission, how to draw that out of your business and how to build that. We use that process from that book as well. But it was just, really what we're talking about here is the numbers. And that for me was the big nugget was, oh my goodness, imagine if just, you're just looking at this. I mean, they say one number, but I think realistically we probably have 2 or 3 each. But maybe one day when we're huge, then we could just focus on one number. But bit by bit. But yeah, really, really good book. I recommend it. Go out and get traction. Yeah.
Thanks. It's time for quickfire questions.
Okay, quickfire questions on numbers, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
How do you balance numbers and creativity?
Do they clash?
I don't know.
Do you think they stop creativity then?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Do you think it... Would you go, oh, I'm not sure because of the numbers?
No, I don't believe they do. I think they just tell you what's going on. I don't think really there's a correlation between numbers and creativity. I think realistically, I guess, if anything, it probably adds to creativity because you know what you're focusing on. If I look at, if we needed, conversions are dropping. Yeah. Now let's get our creative heads on. Yeah. What can we do to assist conversion increasing? So I think if anything, it would be a positive thing for creativity and innovation.
Nice.
Whereas if you weren't looking at those core numbers, you'd just be like, I don't know where to start. So I think it just gives you a starting point, and then your creativity of. And I think that's the fun bit, really.
Yeah, definitely.
There's an opportunity here. That number's dropping. What can we do?
Yeah.
What ideas have we got? And if you look at all the different ideas, initiatives, it comes up from something dropping and going, right, okay, how do we turn that around?
Yeah, okay, cool. Has there been a moment when the numbers look different to what you expected?
Yeah, always. Yeah. I think probably the most frustrating thing is where you think, there's going to be a pattern here. And then you delve into the numbers and then suddenly, no, it's just random. I think that's probably the most frustrating thing. You think, this is going to tell us here is going to, and I think that's probably the most frustrating bit. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Has your vision of our IT system, NetSuite, started coming to life?
Definitely, yeah. Probably, I think naively, not as quick as I'd have liked, but I think every single day we're delivering new things and new ideas, and I think even, for me, the vision of what we were trying to achieve in bringing one system with one data point to enable us to extract KPIs to the right people in the right departments was never really, I never blurred from that, never blinked from that. But I think now, even our teams at the front end of the business now understand the true potential of what we've done.
I think so.
And see what we are able to achieve now. But every single day, there's new initiatives, systems, charts coming through, dashboards, and it's just getting better and better.
Yeah. Nice. Last question.
Yeah.
As a CEO, what would you say your number is?
Interesting. I guess really as CEO, it's ultimately businesses are about people, especially as you get bigger. And for me, it is team morale, team happiness, and something we introduced recently is a pulse survey of happiness within the organisation that gives us a full team NPS score with an opportunity obviously to put comment, but I'd guess that is ultimately my big number. Obviously there's financial numbers and bits underneath, but really that's a result of the team performing to their best, and teams perform to their best when they are enjoying what they are doing, like where they're working, and are happy. So I think ultimately it's probably something around that and team NPS.
Yeah, interesting. That's cool. It's time for tip of the week then.
Tip of the week?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought about this. So tip of the week, really we're looking at numbers. And for me is some data is better than no data. And I remember when we first started collecting data, and I talk about just collecting numbers of people that come through the door. And some of the initial response was, but it's not really that precise. We won't include this person, won't include that person, or if we get busy, will we count everybody that comes through? And of course the answer is no, it probably isn't 100% precise, sorry for the whistle, but it's better than nothing. At least you have something to work with. And I think we get too het up in being too perfect before we go forward. Now today we have counters that count every single person that comes through the door. But then you'll get thrown at you, but it's counting the drivers that come through, the postman, whoever, all these extra people, they're not customers. No, it doesn't. But what it does do is give you a precise number of every person that comes in and everybody that goes out, and it will give you a precise conversion figure. Now, a lot of the time, you could get het up on, the number's wrong because it includes all of these other people. But if you look across time, a week, a month, a quarter, those same people are churning through all the time. So what it does give you is, where is that conversion number going? Is it going up or is it going down? What do we need to work on? Don't get het up on the exact number. It's what the trend and the direction is doing. There's a couple of tips in there, really. One, some data is better than none, but also don't get het up too much on what the number actually is. It's what it's doing that's important.
Great. Cool.
Is that cool?
I like that's a good tip.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think we're coming to the end.
Wow.
Of our Own Your Numbers podcast.
Only Numbers podcast, yeah.
I think we have some reviews.
We do. So, obviously, we've been doing this for a few weeks now, and we're getting more and more messages coming in. And we thought we'd just read a few of these out because they're really helpful, really encouraging. And we're getting lots of feedback on, like someone said, say about liking and subscribing right back at the beginning of the podcast rather than the end. I hope you did it, by the way. Anyway, so I've got a few reviews. I thought I'd just read them out and say thank you to these people for taking the time to write in. First of all, we got Jez. Jez said, "Excellent podcast, Steve. Grace is inspiring and I can definitely be empathetic to her experience and to other less fortunate people. As you know, my own experience." So, thank you, Jez. I've also got Andy said, "Great listen, insightful to hear the dynamics of working in management as father and son." Thank you again, Andy. That's lovely. And I've got Film Fan 3000. Yeah,
that's what it said.
Film Fan 3000. That's easy for me to say. Said, "This is a must listen for anyone working in business and an absolute must listen for anyone working in a family business." And that's lovely. Thank you very much, Film Fan 3000. So that's the end of this podcast for this week. Just briefly on numbers. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got a few nuggets out of it. I know how important numbers were for us in turning our business around and being able to make decisions on fact rather than on gut, which we did for many, many years. So there's nothing wrong with gut, but numbers are a lot more comfortable, I promise you. So that's a wrap for this week. Again, I'm going to remind you, press like, press subscribe. I think currently, I had a